Welcome into the Week 12 edition of Top Dogs College Style. Mark Zinno and Jeremy Conn with you here on the Pickdawgz YouTube page, pickdawgz.com. Appreciate you guys joining us. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button so you're alerted each week, every Thursday when this show comes out, and smash that like button. Thumbs up. Why? Because we're two likable guys, and we give you guys good information. 5 plays that we go over, show best bet, which we're going to end up doing on the fly because I just realized as we started recording, we didn't talk about what our show best bet is.
Well, why don't we just each give one out at the end?
Ooh, you want to give out extra things to the populace?
Yes.
Really?
Sure.
Okay. Glad you decided that for me. But anyway, that's an extra thumbs up, and leave a comment below for us.
Would you like me to tell you all the games I like, and then you can pick the one you agree with me, so I'll give out my whole card? Is that how you want to do this?
Oh, why don't I give out my whole card? You give out your whole card, and then together we will come up with one that we like as our show best bet, and nobody has to go to our premium pages at all whatsoever.
Mark, if this was 4 weeks ago, you know how that would have worked out. We were on opposite sides of every single play. So.
But go to our premium page. Package Jeremy and I together. I actually had a really good weekend in college. Finished 4-2 last weekend between Friday and Saturday. The Friday night plays for me have been fire.
Me too.
I have a good Friday night play this week too. Fire.
I like both games. There is one that I like way more than the other.
That's what you used to tell people about me.
Yeah, I like you way more than everyone else.
Way more than everybody else. All right, let's get to our top 5 games here on the college slate, starting with Pittsburgh, Pitt, Notre Dame, Pitt. I have those numbers backwards. I just realized I did that. Notre Dame is a 12.5-point favorite, and Pitt is the dog. Was not paying attention. But the total
I'm taking Notre Dame plus the points here.
I would take Notre Dame plus the points too if that was actually the case, but it's not. So I apologize to all you guys. Notre Dame minus 12.5. Obviously, Pitt plus. Let me see if I could just write that on the screen. Put a plus in anyway. Thank you for forgiving me. But I did get the money line prices right. See, it'd be awesome if they were plus 12.5 and minus 480. That'd be fun. That implies a negative 87% win percentage. I don't know what to make. I think Pitt is not for real. I don't think they're very good. I think that they are a product of an ACC schedule that has been favorable to them. There's 2 things I know about Notre Dame. They're really well coached, and their offense is very good. I have issues with Pat Narduzzi and the way he coaches sometimes. Yes. Did you see what he said this week?
I was going to bring it up to see if you were on that as well.
This jackass said, like, oh, I don't care about the game. They could score 100 or 103 points. I don't care because it's not an ACC game. So it doesn't matter to Pitt whether they win or lose because they have one conference loss, and that's to Louisville. So they are still in position to play in the ACC title game and get themselves into the college football playoff. Pitt this year has made a change at quarterback. And it came after the Louisville loss. They moved off from Eli Holstein and went to Mason Heinchel. A weird number of Jewish quarterbacks at Pitt. Not really sure what the correlation is there, but there's just anyway.
Shalom.
Yeah, l'chaim. Regardless, 12.5 points, another dead number. Like I just don't. I would take Notre Dame's team total over. How's that sound?
I like that a lot.
That's the way I would play this. I don't feel comfortable laying that kind of number. What I do know is that I don't think Pitt can slow down this Notre Dame offense. At 34.5, I think Notre Dame gets to 35.
I mean, if Pitt's going to be in this game, and I mean in it, I think Pop Williams and Reed are going to have to show up big time because I don't see it. And again, Notre Dame just let me down a few weeks ago when they went, who did they play? Syracuse or Boston College, somebody. And then they were favored by a couple of touchdowns coming into that game. And they won the game.
Boston College, 25-10.
Yeah. They didn't do anything special. They just they got a lead and just sat on it. And that's what concerns me. I don't know that'll happen here. I've been talking about Jadarian Price all year long. I like him over his rushing yards, which is like right around 55, 60, depending on where you're looking. But I like Notre Dame in this game. I think they handle business. I've been fooled by them before. And I didn't know how you were going to feel about Notre Dame because they're such a super public team more times than not. It's weird to see when people start fading them. And I think people believe it's too many points on the road because of what we've seen with them in a couple of spots this year.
Yeah. Here's the other thing I'll add. Notre Dame, with the way the college football playoff rankings went, Notre Dame knows this for certain. Win out, they're likely going to be in. Win out and do it in impressive fashion, meaning destroy everybody, there will be no doubt. There will be absolutely no doubt. If they are winning games by double digits, by 2 and 3 touchdowns routinely, there will be no way the committee can leave them out, period.
You know, I want to go back and look. Has Jeremiah Love scored a touchdown in every game this year? Like, I mean, we were talking, he has been a touchdown machine. Like, coming into games, he's like minus 500 to score one.
I can tell you right now, game log. Let's see all. He has scored a rushing touchdown in every game but the Miami one. So it's now been, what, 9 straight?
Yeah.
Straight.
Wow.
So that was part of the reason they lost to Miami, because the guy had 10 carries for 33 yards. Good coaching there, fellas. Way to go. Dumbasses. But yeah, so I think points are going to matter. Style points are going to matter for Notre Dame. They'll leave, no doubt, the rest of the way out. They know after this Pitt game, they got cupcakes against Syracuse and Stanford that they can blow out. If they win a game against a ranked team convincingly, it's just another feather in the cap for them, which is why I go team total. I don't think they'll slow down at 35. I think they want to push to 40 here.
Yeah. Again, I mean, as you pointed out, there's some of these games we're looking at. There's a lot of interesting games in college football. Whereas, you know, we talking about the NFL this week, I don't think it's a great slate, but I think college football this weekend's really good.
It's going to be lovely. It's going to be lovely, including this game next. Alabama hosting OU. This actually spread I did get right. You see, I got the numbers right there, the plus and the minus. Yeah, that's accurate.
Very good.
Interesting total that's low, which tells me that defense is going to rule the day. Here's my problem, and I talked about this with Oklahoma a couple of times. The last 2 weeks when they have played legitimate offenses in Tennessee and Mississippi, their defense got scored upon. They played no real offenses before that. And even the best offense you could say that they played was Texas. And so, like, you know, their defensive numbers are a little bit skewed. Kent State, Temple, Illinois State, Auburn had a bad offense. Michigan had a true freshman quarterback. Like, these were not real. So I wonder if their defense is that good. But other people I've talked to I respect have told me, yes, their defense still is very good despite what you've seen the last 2 weeks. Those are just, you know, different level offenses. But the question is, do you believe, does Alabama have an offense at that level? I don't know if it's at the level of Ole Miss and Tennessee to a certain extent, but it's really good. I mean, you have Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams running through people's secondaries, and a game in Tuscaloosa here. I lean on Alabama, to be honest with you, to cover this.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one, just because, again, I don't know what or who Oklahoma is really. I think their defense is good, but as you pointed out, I think it's a valid point to look at who they've played thus far. But as I started looking at some of the prop bets for college players, it's interesting to see a guy like Ryan Williams is right around 60 yards. Like, when you brought up the total, I'm looking at it going, I think they're telling you the under is the play, and I think people are going to look at it and go, oh my God, this is too low. And then we wind up with a 24-20 game or something.
Well, let's just remember what happened last week. It was 20-9 at home against LSU, right? Like, LSU's defense is very good and has been all year long. Their offense has been the problem. Can you see that game materializing again where Alabama makes enough plays and trusts their defense against John Mateer, who, again, in reality has not had to play a lot. The highest level defense that Oklahoma has played this year is Texas, and they did it without John Mateer. So throw that game out, even though they only scored 6 points. The next two best defenses they played were Auburn and Michigan. They got a gift-free touchdown from the officials in that game when they scored 24, should have only had 17, right? And in the game against Michigan, they didn't really do anything all that special. They kicked the last-second field goal with $1:44 left, already up by 8 just to make it an 11-point game, but only 3 touchdowns in that game for them. So is Bama's defense better than the two of them? Maybe.
Well, I think the other part of this too is like just looking at Oklahoma, and maybe it's easier said just because of the schedule he played, but I thought Mateer looked way better before his injury. I don't think like I'm still trying to figure out who he is. I thought I knew before the injury. He came out and he's had a couple of games where you're like, yeah, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's who he is, but we'll see. This is another tall task. And as you pointed out, I think it's a great thing to look at LSU, another team that to me looks eerily similar to Oklahoma with the style of football play. But the under is going to be the play for me. I can't back Oklahoma.
No.
And I'm not, like I said, I think this game could be close, but I don't want to touch the side.
Yeah. All right. Next game between ranked opponents again, Iowa and USC. This actually just a 3:30 start time. So early start for USC heading out to the West Coast. And a couple of things here, like situationally, you ask yourself the question, how does Iowa get off the deck, right? Their Big Ten championship hopes now gone. And they played their hearts out at home in a game. Oh, by the way, they haven't had a road game in over a month, Iowa. The last one they played was at Wisconsin, which is not a real football team this year. Their previous road game was all the way back on September 19th at Rutgers. They lost the road game to Iowa State this year, 16-13. I bring all this stuff up just because it matters. It's kind of strange that we're in the middle of November and they've only played 3 previous road games, whereas USC has played 3 previous road games in the past 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So USC at home, their offense scores a ton more at home than it does on the road. But here's the other part of this for USC. You know who they have on deck? A little team called Quack, 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 Oregon for a spot in the college football playoff. Because if USC wins that game, they're in. And Oregon is out. So that is a de facto playoff game. A little bit of a look-ahead spot here. I think USC's the side.
All those things you said, like the romper room, the look ahead. I see a look ahead game here.
Yep.
I think Iowa keeps it close. I don't think they win. I think Iowa keeps this game close.
Which narrative they believe more? Iowa doesn't get off the deck this week after putting their season on the line last week, or is USC in a look ahead spot?
I don't worry about Iowa getting off the deck because Kirk Ferentz gets this team to play. Like I don't worry about them with look ahead games. I think he's one of the better college coaches, especially for the school that he's at. You know, like the type he's going to get every big player in Iowa is going to go there. It's been their dream to play at Iowa. And then he's just got to find other pieces. And as long as he's that big fish in that small pond, he's going to do just fine and end up retiring there more than likely. But I think this Iowa team can slow down USC just a bit. And I think this Iowa offense is better than people want to give them credit for it. Yes, it's still Iowa, and underplays feel like they're locked with Iowa.
You're right. It is better. But again, my real thing here is that Wisconsin doesn't have an offense, right? Iowa State, so, but they gave up 28 points on the road to a Rutgers team that is better on offense than people would realize if they look at numbers. I just say that, Oregon going to Kinnick is one thing. Out on the road, this is the best offense they've played all year long by a wide margin. And even at that, other than the Indiana game, which was also at Kinnick, this is the best offense they've played all year long.
But they did the best job against Indiana of any team. They held them to 20, whatever, the lowest score that they've.
Actually, it was less than that. It was a garbage safety at the end. I think they held them to 18, if I remember correctly. Did Mendoza run out of the back of the end zone in that game and made
I don't remember, but it sounds right.
20-13. I think it was a 6-point. It was an 8.5 point spread or whatever. There was a garbage safety at the end that
made it 20.
Yeah, that made it 20. So anyway, point simply is that yes, I agree. They did a good job against Indiana. We'll see. Iowa on the road doesn't feel appealing to me. I think USC's the side.
Yeah, and again, I'm not betting this game, full disclosure, but I think I would roll with Iowa.
Okay. Well, good luck with that, Hawkeye. Good luck to you.
Does that make you the Black Widow?
Oh. Something like that. As long as Lincoln Riley doesn't become an asshat and call stupid plays like he did make stupid decisions like he did against Notre Dame. That was a game I absolutely should have covered. Still pissed about that. Because it landed on 10 and I was taking plus 9.5 and I didn't care because they had plenty of opportunities to make that thing much closer. But anyway, back to the present. Texas and Georgia. The Georgia Bulldogs finally put together a complete game. Boat race Mississippi State from the start, sprinted out to a lead, never really was close. 41-21, didn't even made it seem closer than what it actually was. Texas is coming off a bye. Texas had to make us all sweat 2 weeks ago after being up 34-16 and then just shutting, hey, the last 7 minutes of the game don't matter. Let's just let them back in. Idiot kicker. When the idiot kicker missed a field goal at 34-16 for Texas, I pounded my fist on the table. My girlfriend looked at me like, what is wrong? I'm like, that's definitively going to come back to bite us in the ass. Right there.
And depending on when you got the number, you got 2.5, 3, or 3.5. I mean, that's what you got.
Yep.
And it's about when you bought it. Yeah.
Well, I had money line. So I grabbed money line earlier in the week. I just jumped right on it. And I said, I'm not waiting.
I had it at 2.5, so I got lucky, but I always feel weird about those when the spread changes and it goes above a big number.
Yeah. So Georgia's minus 5.5 here, total of 48. Which Arch Manning, which offense are we going to get here, Jeremy? I don't know the answer to that. Georgia's pass rush isn't very good, so Arch Manning's going to have time here, and he should be able to operate within the constraints of the offense. I still like Georgia, even with the semi-dead. Now, college, key totals aren't as much of a thing, but I still like Georgia here. I don't think Texas. I mean, part of me would love to see it happen, just because I like the chaos in the college football playoff thing. But I don't think Texas can win this game.
I think Texas wins outright.
Good for you. I like that.
This was the thing at the beginning of the year, and they haven't made me feel comfortable about it. But when everybody wrote them off against Ohio State, I'm like, come on, guys. Like, really, you're going to write them off? And then you start watching them and you're going, yeah, something's just not quite right. I think they're slowly starting to figure it out, coming off their bye week. Look, I've been screaming to the heavens, there's something wrong with this Georgia team, and I just don't. It's not the typical Georgia team. I'm gladly going to take 5.5, but I think they win outright.
I hope you're right. I do. I've seen enough of Georgia over the last couple of years in the Kirby Smart era. Major coaching advantage to Kirby Smart. Major coaching advantage to Kirby Smart. And go back to the SEC championship game last year. Texas failed to put away Georgia early, and that was the problem. And it came back and bit him in the ass, and that lost the championship game. Those close moments are not Steve Sarkisian's strength. He gets deep.
Yep. Very tight. Watertight, like a dolphin's butthole. Oh. Is that fair?
I've never seen a dolphin's butthole, so I don't know.
Well, you haven't lived, my friend.
Wasn't expecting that response.
The dumb shit that comes out of our mouth when we're together. It's probably me mostly, but whatever.
Thank God they don't pay us for this show. We'd be severely underperforming. But I mean, it's hard to. Am I being enamored by the logo on the side of the helmet with the G? Maybe. The idea that Texas is going to walk into Sanford Stadium. By the way, and let's just bring this up. Georgia had won like 20 straight conference home games, including, or like 26, including, 22-0 against ranked. Alabama snapped that streak, right? Are they really going to lose 2 in a row at home to ranked opponents?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, that's kind of what is in my mind right now. Like, this isn't a spot here where I think Alabama is wildly better than Texas. And I hope you're right. I do, because again, I want the chaos. And put it this way, I'll say, and I've said this for 2 weeks now. If Texas splits with Georgia and A&M, I think a 3-loss Texas team could get in.
Well,
I think team could get in.
Give me chaos. That's what I want. And I'm not picking Texas because I want that. I don't know. I saw this at the beginning of the year, whatever. Like, I've been on Texas in way too many games this year just because I think that team. I feel like I've been catching value with them because of the public and their perception after week one. We talked about the 3 points against Vanderbilt and getting burned there if you had the field goal or if you had the 3.5. They had that game against Oklahoma. I was all over them on that one. But it is funny when you've watched them play how they played down to level their opponent. They lost to Florida, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Florida's an interesting case study for the college football playoff because I don't think they're valued properly, but everyone's going to say they stink and it was a bad loss. I don't think Florida's a bad loss at all for anybody. They've played a lot of tight games and have kept teams in check.
It's a really good defense.
That said, what I think is really what I'll do with this game, well, let me say this much. I'll give you a little, it's not a freemium, you weirdo. I will have a play in this game, but it's a different market. It's a different way to play it. This will make there's a play in this game that'll make my premium card for
what
Saturday.
Is it?
You want me to tell you now?
No. Yeah, I'm going to be on Texas. I do think this is going to be.
Let's see how many people actually watch this thing. If you go to my Twitter account at Mark Zinno, it's right there, and you ask me what my play is on my Twitter account in a DM. DMs are open. Slide right in.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you right there for free. How's that sound?
How many guys slide in your DMs, dude? You probably get all of them.
None at all. No. At least not the ones I'm going to tell you about. So, and the other crazy part about this, the recency bias, right, that people succumb to. Finally, Georgia put it all together. Oh, now they're rolling is what people will say. You got to get out of that narrative mindset and take each week as an individual sample size and understand part of the reason why Georgia got rolling last week because Mississippi State is tired. Like when I say that, I mean like they played so many close games and they finally got a conference win and everything else. But like, guess what? Mississippi State, for as impressive as they've been, they're not a great team. And look at all the conference games they lost. And when they played better teams, they lost pretty handily. They lost by a touchdown to Texas. They lost by a bunch to A&M. Yes, overtime loss to Tennessee. But, the point simply is that, they had won a conference game and did it on the road, no less. It was a nice setup spot for them to have a letdown against Georgia at home. So maybe Georgia finally putting a good game together was more a product of that than necessarily it was that Georgia has finally figured it all out. Just something to consider when we talk about the recency bias. All right. Final game here. Not ranked opponents, or two ranked opponents, but a ranked team in Virginia and Duke. And I added this one, Jeremy, because I thought it was very interesting because it's going to have major implications as far as the ACC is concerned and which team goes to the college football playoff. You have currently, count them, 5 teams in the ACC with one conference loss. Georgia Tech, Virginia, Pittsburgh, SMU, and Duke.
Be cool if those teams started playing each other at some point.
Yeah, well, it's going to happen this week. And by the way, Georgia Tech plays Pittsburgh next week. So there is a lot for to be decided in the ACC, one of these games here. Telling that the 19th ranked team in the country is an underdog of almost a touchdown, or earlier it was close, or this week it was 6, to an unranked team. Remember, you and I were both on this game. Earlier this year, Duke was a favorite at home against I think 14th ranked or 8th ranked Georgia Tech. Let me just double check what
no, that's right. You're right on that one.
You're a favorite. I want to see what Georgia Tech. They were 12th ranked Georgia Tech, and you and I both lost. And let's rehash it again. Soon as they fumbled that ball on the 5-yard line on their first drive, 95-yard touchdown any other way, I text you, Duke is dead.
I wanted to text back. Come on, you're overreacting. This is typical Mark Zitto. 5 minutes into a football.
No,
he wasn't.
No. Duke is dead. Duke is dead.
Yeah.
He is dead. Okay. He was a bear. He is also dead. So I would tell you, I know Virginia's quarterback is coming back. I got some inside information on the game that tells me that Virginia's quarterback will be starting. So Chandler Morris, whatever his name is, douchey frat boy name, will be starting. So that's good for Virginia. But still, their offense hasn't been right in weeks, Jeremy. Weeks. Could not do anything against Washington State. Got very lucky to win that game. Only scored 17 and needed overtime to do it against UNC, a game they should have lost. Scored 31 against Cal, but not like in really dominating fashion. Like it was never really a game that, and by the way, the last touchdown was an interception return for a touchdown, which caused Cal not to cover. Yeah. So they only scored 24 points in that game. Make me sick because I had Cal plus the points that week too. boy, ACC has been kicking me in the ass. Anyway,
ACC sucks.
Yeah, it does. Except for when I had Wake against SMU, that worked. So nonetheless, here, this is not an offense that I trust, is the point that I'm making. Duke is an offense I trust. They can score, but then again, they just got their ass whooped last week by Connecticut.
But you know, Connecticut has the #1 quarterback in the country from a statistical standpoint. I didn't know that. I found that out today.
The Temple kid was #1 until I bet Temple, and then he threw 2 picks in that game.
You jinxed him. Oh, man.
But I did Connecticut last week, and they covered. That was on my card.
Yeah, I like Duke to bounce back. I've been arguing with one of my callers who's a Wahoo. He's a big Virginia Cavalier fan.
He's a who?
And he's a Wahoo.
Who?
He was getting on me because I said I don't think Virginia's good, and here they are sitting where they are in the ACC, but I also don't think the ACC's good, so it doesn't mean anything to me. One of these sorry-ass teams is going to be in the playoffs, and we'll see how they go up against, you know, the 2 real conferences, SEC and Big Ten, when it comes down to it. Right. That being said, I'm going to be all over Duke here. I like Cooper Barkate, the wide receiver for Duke, for an anytime touchdown if you're in a state that can bet that. But I like Duke minus the 4.5. I don't play it blindly, but I think this is another spot where I'm going unranked team over ranked team.
Well, again, unranked home favorites have been a trend for the last, 4 or 5 years that have covered at like a 66% rate. So I would tell you there's a world where Duke only wins by 3. That's my fear. Usually when you get unranked home favorites, they're at bigger numbers. And the fact that this has sort of been bet down, like if it's an unranked home favorite, it's usually 2.5, or it's up to a point where it's 6.5, right? And the fact that this has been bet down, I don't think it's the public betting Virginia, but maybe it is. Who knows? Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But I just have major concerns with Virginia's offense. Major concerns.
They really need to get their running backs good there. I like him a lot, but they got to get him going to have that offense working the way they want. What's that?
Jamari Taylor?
Yes, Jamari. I couldn't think of his name, but I play a lot of college DFS and looking at the players. That's why you hear me talk about some of these guys. But he's been a guy at the top of, when you're talking about the top tier guys, we mentioned Jeremiah Love and a handful of others. He's that guy that kind of slides in that next group. He's really good. I think he plays at the next level. But again, they got to get him going, and then that sets up their play action because Duke's defense will give up some points, but Mensa can score some points as well.
Here's what's weird about Duke. They've played 5 road games this year. In their 5 road games, they have scored 27, 38, 45, 46, and 34. In their home games, they scored 18 against Georgia Tech. They scored 19 against Illinois. They scored 45 against NC State, whose defense is god-awful, and 45 against Elon. But it's like
Musk?
No, different Elon. Other than playing 2 really bad defenses in Elon and NC State, the decent defenses they've played in Georgia Tech and Illinois shut down that offense. What do you think of the Cavaliers' defense? I don't know what to think of the Cavaliers' defense. It's certainly not the strongest unit on the field for them. Statistically, when you look at Virginia's defense, it is 40th in FBS, and they're very good against the run. But Duke is a team that throws the ever-loving snot out of the ball. They're 4th in passing yards per game in offense, and they could win it that way. So I don't know how this all goes out. I'm still trying to figure it all out.
It almost feels like every game with Mensa, you can pencil him in for 300 yards passing and possibly over the 2.5 touchdown passes as well. They've got a good back there in Duke as well. This is just a game that when I look at it, because Duke's been so disappointing to me, and as you pointed out, the best teams they've played have all been at home. And it's kind of weird how they stubbed their toe on offense at that. Virginia, looking at their record, taking all things into consideration, I would call them, I don't think they're a good team, but I would call them a good team considering where they are in the ACC and what their record says they are. So we'll see what Duke shows up, but I'm not worried about Virginia's defense if I'm Duke. Again, I think we get a rather high scoring game here.
Yeah. Interesting to see. So that is the 5 games that we had on the card this week. Now we will have to, since Jeremy wants to give out each of a free play.
Well, let me do my best bet and you see if you like it. Okay. We'll see if you like it. If you want to co-sign on it, feel free. Because I don't think you're going to, but
okay.
I'm going to go with TCU plus 4.5 against BYU.
Now, I will say this much. I just want to cut you off here before you give your reasoning. I initially wrote down BYU. Why? Because it's Provo at night. And whenever BYU plays at home at night, I just circle BYU. That said, very sharp friend of mine said TCU. TCU. And he said they're going to win outright.
I agree 1,000%. And again,
let's do it, Jeremy. Let's do it.
This will be a freemium for me, Mark. You love that word. Yeah, no, like when you look at this, so think about what happened to BYU. You're undefeated. You're rolling. You think you're going into this playoff. Everything's going your way. You've got this great team. You beat your division rival, or you don't even have to call them a division. You beat Utah, your in-state rival, who you hate their guts in the Holy War. And then Texas Tech comes in and beats your ass. And I think
that was my best last week, Texas Tech.
We were both on it. That's we both loved that game. It jumped out as soon as you looked at the sheet, like, whoa, this is what the spread is. But in this matchup, everybody expects BYU just to pick themselves back up. And I don't see that. They got crushed. And you're talking about trying to get back up for another game. This is one where I think TCU comes in. You overlook it because it's TCU.
Right.
I think Aaron McAllister has a huge game. I like TCU to win this game outright.
I'll say this much. I had previously, when I was forecasting, because I after about like week, let's see, it was probably by Arizona, the game against Arizona, when they went to Arizona and they won in double OT. So I think I was on Arizona that game because Arizona was a very, very short underdog. And I'm like, I kind of realized how fugazi this BYU team was, right? Like, okay, a win at East Carolina. They only beat Colorado by 3. They tried very hard. Now, because I had BYU in the first half against West Virginia. And that was when West Virginia was really bad. You know, they actually played a lot better. But they tried to give that game away. Like, a bunch of turnovers. BYU had more turnovers in the game, held onto the ball less, and somehow managed to win the game. So I'm like, this team's a little bit fugazi. And then I bet Utah against them. And, of course, they beat Utah. And Utah was a favorite in that game at home, weren't they? Or they were a favorite in the game at BYU. I remember betting Utah in that game. They lose the game out. I'm like, I've had enough of this. So then I started looking at their schedule. Because then again, I remember I played Iowa State at home because they were favored against BYU as I keep going through all the mistakes I made with BYU this year. And I circled, obviously, Texas Tech. But I also circled, I also circled, not this game, the next one at Nippert, which is where I think they're going to lose to Cincinnati outright. Because I didn't want to play against them at home. And I co-signed TCU with you. However, I will say this much. If BYU wins this game, I'm absolutely betting Cincinnati next week. That's a freebie for you, okay? Because Cincinnati will be a favorite in that game.
Yep.
At home.
Sorsby have a big game against this BYU defense.
Yeah. So BYU is a nice story. Kalani Sitake is a great coach, but they're fugazi, and I've had enough of their stuff. You know,
I've had enough of your stuff.
And once again, you turn every New York accent into Jimmy Durante from
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Down there in Cuba.
Comes up in our NFL episode, comes up in our college episode.
That's all right.
Good stuff there, Jimmy. All right, so TCU, show best bet here, plus the 4.5, but probably going to win the game outright. I would tend to agree. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Throw that thumbs up out there. Give a wonderful comment to Jeremy and all of his wonderful impressions and tomfoolery. Please make sure you go to our premium pages. We've given out freemiums. We'll also have premiums. I wear schmediums. It all works out.
True. Yeah.
So package us together. 3-day package, 7-day package, best value you guys can get. If you take me and Jeremy on a Friday, you'll get us all the way through Sunday, baby. So you get our entire college card, NFL as well. Great way to do it. Great value. 2 of the best cappers here over at the Pickdawgz.
Yeah, you'll get a ton of scoring on that 3-day weekend.
Jeremy hasn't scored on the 3-day weekend in a long time.
I have if I get to play by myself. I win.
By or with? One of the other.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Jeremy Conn, Mark Zinno. Make sure you guys check out Top Dawgz NFL Edition every Friday coming out as well. Appreciate you guys watching us. Good luck with all your bets this weekend. Go cash some tickets. We'll talk to you next week.